No TV playing in the background. James standing here in the middle of his chair looking right at you with a disappointed look. Got a lot of energy in me. You know what time it is. Greetings, geeks and girls. My name is James Mikesell. Welcome back to my anger nerd cave because I'm freaking pissed off. I'm back, bitches. So in case you haven't heard, and if you haven't heard, good for you, you're living your life well. Apparently, there's this whole big hullabaloo above in the Sony Disney heaven and hell that basically is saying that since that they're not getting that Sony's not happy with the cut of money that they're getting, they're going to be taking Spider-Man back and doing their own stories with them. And what do I think of this? I mean, what else do you think I'm going to think of it? But honestly, I want to start with one big thing. Poor Tom Holland. And I really mean that. Like, I'm not being a jokester. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm dead straight here. It must be hard dealing with the shit that's going on being him. I mean, here you got a guy who's being praised for being one of the best Spider-Man in recent years. And now he's going through certain issues trying to promote one movie when everybody's flipping out over Spider-Man. Meanwhile, he has to deal with the changing of going from Disney to Sony, or Sony to Disney, or however the hell this is going to work. I mean, it's bad enough that, but to remind him of his failure, his co-star in his new movie is Chris Pratt. Star-Lord, another Marvel character. That's not going to stab him in the heart at all. But first of all, I wanted to get on you guys, the fans. I don't mean fans of me, I don't mean fans of Spider-Man, I mean hardcore fans. I'm talking so hardcore that it would blow my hair into so fast that it would look like a toupee flew off my head. First of all, you guys are making a huge deal about this. Don't get me wrong, this is freaking big news, specifically for nerds. But you guys are just posting the fucking hell out of it, aren't you? TikTok memes, Facebook posts, no joke, feels like a college formatted Twitter tweet that just basically states, here are the reasons why all of this is fucking bullshit. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of that, we also have those people who are just making fan art. And they don't give a fuck about what's actually happening. Kind of reminds me of how this all first started. But let me get into the serious topic here. Why the hell is all of this happening, first of all? Some of you might be new to this whole thing. Well, let's start from the beginning then. Of course, you all know about Far From Home being one of the biggest box office freaking Spider-Man movies in recent years. But since it did so well, Sony and Disney had a little bit of a talk, and when they said they were going to keep splitting the money, and Sony realized they were getting the not shitty end of the deal, they just think it is a shitty end of the deal because they want to say it's a shitty end of the deal so that way they can pull the shitty move, because it's shit. Apparently, because of all of that bullcrap, they're going to... Why did I say bullcrap after all of that? I ran out of shit points. Because of all of this, they're saying, oh, if we can't get more of a raise, they're like a freaking pissed off college student working at a coffee shop. If I don't get a raise, I'm leaving, and I'm taking my stuff with me. So that's apparently what they're trying to do. And there's only 3 ways I think this can go about. 1, they're just going to find a way to bridge everything, and hopefully everything will go back to normal. They will do business as usual. 2, same thing, only somehow Venom will be in this story, because quite frankly, it feels like that's the only reason they're doing this bullshit. And 3, Sony will hit the fucking reset button like they always have. God, can I tell you how many times they've done that? Ghostbusters! Men in Black! Sorry, I had something in my nose there. Anyway, so because of all of this, and out of the 3 actual things that's going to happen, of course you obviously know I'm hoping for number 1, because honestly I don't know why Venom would be canon, and if we hit the reset button then we're basically deleting all copies of this. But at the same time, if they try to do something the third movie with Sony, that means they cannot name anything Marvel related. So, basically half of his character. Everything that we usually know about Spider-Man has been replaced with something that's put from the MCU. Instead of Uncle Ben, we have Tony Stark, who gives him guilt and pain about the situation. He is the one who gave him his suit. Spider-Man did not make that himself. And on top of all of that, we have Happy Hogan, who's dating Aunt May and is also helping him in the same situation. And don't even get me started on how the fuck they're gonna deal with Ned after this. Yeah, if they end up trying to make a Miles Morales movie after this, that ought to be very interesting. I don't know how that would work at all. But, I digress. Of course, like everything, we really just have to see what happens. But of course, there's a limited time you can let things slide. So this can either go really good, the way I hope it would, or really bad, the more probable one. And I know you guys hate me saying things like that, because usually I'm the upbeat guy, but I honestly don't know where the hell this can go. And I feel bad because I'm a huge Spidey fan, and it was honestly last year of 2018 that got me back into the webhead again. The movies were kicking ass. He was a part of the Avengers in the films. The comics were getting better and funnier. Hell, the video game itself, I'm fairly sure, became one of the better Spider-Man games, if not the best one of recent. That's starting its own cinematic universe with an Avengers game coming up. And I want to say that we can have a official continuing Spider-Man universe. Think about this for a second. Spectacular Spider-Man. It was a great cartoon. One of the best Spider-Man adaptations in years. And it got canceled after its second season. Thanks, Disney. And what about the MTV Spider-Man cartoon? People, contrary to popular belief, that was a deep show and had a pretty kick-ass, really interesting story behind it. And it just ended with Spider-Man pussing out and not becoming Spider-Man anymore because he accidentally Gwen Stacy'd a random Indian-looking girl who had glasses and pigtails. I'm starting to see why I relate to Spider-Man. Not that I killed anybody. I mean, like, I'm attracted to girls with glasses. Wait, no, that came out wrong, too. Oh, God. So, where do we go with this? Well, like I said, these are great things, and they got canceled. Even the original Raimi trilogy, they made it to 3, but let's be honest, after the third movie being fucked with by the studio, starting to see a pattern, they never made it to 4, which, from what I've heard about what the plot was going to be, it was going to be badass. They were going to have Bruce Campbell as Mysterio, and apparently Black Cat and Vulture were going to be in it. Huh, Vulture as a villain in a Spider-Man movie. I'm glad that never got repeated again. Hey. But, let's jump to the point here. We don't want this to cancel just like everything else. We don't. We don't want this to happen. This is a great continuing storyline that has likable characters, interesting plot lines, and very, very talented people behind it. We don't want this to drop down just like everything else Spider-Man did, just because Sony doesn't get enough money and decides to hit reset and do it all over again. Because you know what happens if he hits if they hit that reset button. You know exactly what the hell is going to happen if they hit that reset button. It's either going to be A, they're going to do a complete bullshit story that basically mirrors the Spider-Man PS4 game, but worse. Or 2, they end up just putting Miles in there, writing him terribly, and completely forgetting about the most amazing Spider-Man movie in years. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, guys. Come on. Far From Home and Homecoming are the only Spider-Man movies that came out this year. And it's your fault because you waited till Netflix to actually go see it. If you might have seen it in theaters and actually given it more money, maybe they would say, you can take whatever the fuck you want, Disney. We're gonna make money off this black Latino Spider-Man character. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm disappointed at this point. I'm honestly upset because I mean, like, this seems like nothing. I started this video, like, thinking, oh, this is bullshit to get upset over. I mean, this is probably gonna be patched up. We're getting close to bad development, alright? And I'm honest to God terrified of what this could lead to. And I feel bad because, again, like I said, with 2018, that was the year I got into Spider-Man again. I was like, I'm happy to be a fan of something again. You know, back in the day, I used to be terrified of getting into fandoms because I knew they were going to have those assholes on Twitter. Now, I honestly thought, oh, okay, I can be a fan of Ninja Turtles, I can be a fan of Spider-Man, I can be a fan of Beetlejuice the musical. But now I feel like that if this thing goes downhill, then we're going to have issues. And now I'm scared to be a Spider-Man fan because I don't want this to turn into the next Sonic fandom, where everything they do is completely terrible and we don't know where the hell to go with it. And I honestly didn't want to jump on this train. I honestly didn't. You might think, oh yeah, you're lying, James. You just wanted to get views. I made these videos for people that I know from school. For this situation, I honestly wanted to talk about it because it wouldn't leave me the fuck alone. And I'm just, every time I go out there, did you hear about the Spider-Man news? Did you hear about the Spider-Man news? Did you hear Venom's gonna be in the next Spider-Man movie? Did you hear Miles Morales is gonna be in the next Spider-Man movie? Did you hear that Sony's buying Spider-Man? Did you hear that Sony's buying Spider-Man? Yes! And I'm fucking terrified just as much as you are. But here's the thing. I shouldn't have to be the dumbass who comes out here and says, alright, here's my thoughts. It's exactly like yours. That's it. But, honestly, I just wanted to get it out there and get it over with because hopefully if enough people finally get this shit through Sony and Disney's thick heads, they're like, oh, we're fucking up. We need to change this. And hopefully this will change back to normal. Or maybe that with the inclusion of Venom. Who knows? We'll have to see. Honestly, as much as I'm saying that's a bad idea, it'd be better than nothing. It'd be better than just hitting reset and getting a really shitty interpretation of the third movie. And I don't want that stinger at the end. You know what I'm talking about, in case you haven't seen it. You know what I'm talking about, though. The people who've seen it. That end credit sequence. I don't want that to be the same shit that everything has happened. I don't want to be the guy who says, oh, that was one of those stories where it feels like that was a big event that was going to happen, and now it's nothing because that got canceled or rebooted. You know what I'm talking about. The Deathstroke thing at the very end of Arrow. I'm fairly sure most people remember that Sinister Six drop at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2 that we were totally going to get. And Christ, do we even have to, talk about all the cliffhangers that have happened throughout the years of where something's like, holy shit, I can't wait to see what happens next. Oh, it's canceled. Shit fuckers. I don't want to have to name those ones because, quite frankly, those are pissed off enough. For Mario Brothers movie. Sorry. Sonic Sad I Am. Sorry. Beetlejuice. Ghostbusters. Sorry. Oh, and Bill and Ted isn't that anymore because it's getting a third movie. I just don't want to talk about it anymore, it feels like. But hopefully with enough people who talk about it, hopefully this shit will actually get through people's heads. I'm going to stop talking about Spider-Man for a bit. I can't even think about him anymore. I can't even watch a movie about Spider-Man or any Marvel Cinematic Universe movie anymore. Because after this news dropped, I'm scared to think about it, so I just want to block it all out. Fuck it. I'm going to talk about the Mask cartoon in the next video. Forget it. Just forget. I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk about it anymore because it's sad and it's really hurting my heart thinking of what the fuck they can do with it. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see. That sentence ruins franchises when you think about it. So every time you think something bad is going to happen, you're just like, maybe it could be good. Let's just see what happens. We're going to have to wait and see. So, what do you think about this whole thing? I'm probably scared to ask that question, but put it in the comments because I'm a desperate whore. And what do you think that Sony and Disney should do to compromise? I could probably do a whole video about that, how people should just get in a... Everybody company should just get in a conference room and swap around franchises so that way they can say, we can make money off of that? Okay, this. I have nothing. I'm gonna go finish off Doctor Who. Take it easy, geeks and girls. I'm done. I'm done.